Hi there, I'm Jack Van Ryn, Mayor of the Town of Coldell. I will be giving you a council brief from our January 13th, 2025 regular council meeting. And the first item that came up on the agenda under delegation by appointment, we had two delegations. The first one was the RCMP Community Policing Report for Q3, and we had Staff Sergeant Mike Newman present to council on the statistics for that quarter. And his document is very in-depth and quite long. And instead of me going through line item by line item, I will have this report in the comment section as part of the agenda package that shows all the staff reports, and you just have to click and it'll open up the staff report, and you can read it and take your time because it's quite in depth. He did mention that Coldell is one of the safest communities in all of Alberta for our population size, which is just around 9,500. So thank you very much, Mike Newman, for that excellent report. The second delegation was our MLA Grant Hunter. He presented on, he was actually there to ask us questions of what we need of our MLA, and he also shared some of the information that's going on in Edmonton. Some of the items that we talked about with Grant was some current funding opportunities that he helped us immensely with. I can't say enough thanks to Grant for making these our grant applications successful. One of the first ones was for a new potable water reservoir that's going in just north of Boss Sod, and that was a $4.5 million grant for the potable water reservoir and pump station. And basically the water reservoir will be to contain potable water or chlorinated water that we get from the city of Lethbridge that we use for our drinking water in our homes and businesses. And we needed to be able to store a larger capacity, and this grant will go towards increasing our reservoir from 3,400 cubic meters. That's currently behind the Sportsplex over by the Cenotaph. You'll notice that hill in that park. Below that, there's a 3,400 gallon cubic meter water reservoir. And this new one will be 8,300 cubic meters, and that's a little over the equivalent of 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And we need to be able to store that potable water because of the McCain's expansion and the growth within the town of Coldell. So that water, the number one reason is for fire protection, so that in case there's a large fire, we have sufficient backup water to help us extinguish it. And plus, this new reservoir will be able to look after Coldell for up to the next 30 to 35 years. Another grant that our MLA was able to get to us was a $3.7 million grant that's going towards a new stormwater retention pond that's going to be directly south of the existing Cottonwood Pond. And the purpose of that storm pond is to deal with what we refer to as during a large rain event, the overland flooding historically would just flow into Coldell and cause many problems for residents getting their basements flooded, and same with our streets and avenues. So this new pond will be quite large. It's 100,000 cubic meters volume, which is the equivalent of 40 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And this new storm pond will be connected to the Cottonwood Pond. And for anybody that's traveling south of Coldell, you'll see all that PVC pipe that's laying on top of the ground. That'll be part of this Malloy 2B project, where those two ponds will be The water from there will be redirected to the decommissioned reservoirs that are over by the quads. So for anybody that remembers, we used to get our drinking water from the SMRD, went into the reservoirs, went through our water treatment plant, and then it was distributed to the homes and businesses in Coaldale. So those reservoirs have been sitting empty for years. So now we're going to redirect all these flood waters to those reservoirs. And based on the engineering studies, those two reservoirs have the capacity to hold any amount of water that we've ever received due to overland flooding in the history of Coaldale. So that is a huge safety buffer for us. So Coaldale is in a bowl, so we're 133 feet lower than Lethbridge. We're over 200 feet lower than Lethbridge and over 300 feet lower than Pitcher Butte. So we all know water runs downhill, and we need to be able to contain it within our town boundaries for up to 72 hours before we can slowly release it into our Malloy drain that eventually ends up in Stafford Lake through the St. Mary's River Irrigation District infrastructure. So that was another huge grant that we received. Again, thank you, MLA Grant Hunter, for helping with that. Another initiative is the golf carts. So MLA Hunter was very involved in coming to Coaldale, and for those that remember Fairway Drive, we had a bylaw that was over 33 years old when the Fairway subdivision was built, and that allowed golf carts from residents to drive to Land O'Lakes Golf Course. And we found out that due to the Alberta Traffic Act, we were superseding that act by doing that, so we had to rescind that bylaw. And we approached Grant Hunter to see if the province would work with us so that we could implement to bring it back, but it had to be followed by the provincial directive. And Grant took the message to Edmonton, they listened to us, and now Coaldale's part of a pilot project. So starting in 2025, there's going to be a 5-year pilot project where Coaldale, the residents that border on Land O'Lakes Golf Course, will be able to drive their golf carts to the golf course to play a round of golf. So thank you, Grant, for that as well. And the big one that I still can't give Grant enough thanks for is our RCMP policing model, our federal policing model. So that's a 70-30 split, where the federal government pays 70% of the policing costs and Coaldale pays 30%. We were put into a situation by the federal government. They treated us as a new entrant back in 2015, I'm going to say, when we switched to the RCMP, where we had to pay 100% of those policing costs that were a little over $500,000. And excuse me, when this current council got elected, we wiped the dust off the file that previous council worked hard to try and rectify, but had no success. And we fought, and once Grant got involved and we made several trips to Edmonton, the provincial government stepped up to the plate, and they were covering off that 30% for us now in 2023 and 2024 and moving forward. So the way it's supposed to work is that we submit the invoicing for the year of policing, and then the province will cover off the 30% that the federal government should be doing, but they are not. So thank you, Grant, for that. And then also the Alberta Health Services, the ambulance service in Coaldale. Grant helped us get switched from what they call a Coreflex model, where the ambulances worked on a 24-hour schedule. And once they timed out, they exceeded their hours that they were able to work, that unit was taken out of service. So there was many times where the town of Coaldale had no ambulance service, and we had to rely on units coming from surrounding municipalities. So we fought hard to get rid of that Coreflex and put the ambulances back on a 12-hour shift. and that helped immensely with that problem of the code red. And that's when there's no ambulances available because what I just said, they were timed out. So thank you, Grant, for helping us with that. So other than some updates that he gave us, we had a very good conversation, so that went over very well. The next item that we brought up under new business was the Citizens on Patrol. And that's a new initiative that I've been part of for a little over a year and a half, trying to get this up and running for the town of Coaldale. And the Citizens on Patrol is a total volunteer group, and that's where they work with our local RCMP detachment. They're a second set of eyes and ears, and they do patrolling of different areas of Coaldale that are assigned to the group by the RCMP. So if they have a trouble spot, whether it be in the industrial park, the Citizens on Patrol would go out, and they don't leave the vehicle. They're only there to observe, take pictures, take video, and they have direct communication with the RCMP to get somebody on site if need be. And then they file paperwork at the end of their shift, and we are appointed a RCMP liaison officer that works with the group, and they meet once a month. So the purpose of them coming to council was the former radar van. The Citizens on Patrol wanted to take possession of that to use that for patrolling, so they didn't want to use their own vehicles. So the town of Coaldale agreed to sell the old photo radar van to the group for $1. And because this is a town sanctioned committee, the town also is going to pay for maintenance and upkeep and insurance on that vehicle up to $7,500 a year. And I really enjoyed the going and meeting with the group. There's approximately 14 volunteers right now, and we're actively seeking additional volunteers. And if you want to be a member of Citizens on Patrol, all they ask is that you're able to commit 6 hours a month, and then they'll pair you up with another volunteer, and then the RCMP will give you direction where they want you to do your patrolling. So I'm glad that council was in favor of doing that, and now we hope to have them out doing patrols by the end of January or the first week in February. Then we had our Director of Operations, Terry May, speak on Circular Materials Agreement for Recycled Residential Materials. That's quite the mouthful. And the Reader's Digest version is that in October of 2022, the government of Alberta announced that the province would be implementing an extended producer responsibility process with respect to recyclable materials. So with this new arrangement coming into effect on April 1st, 2025, these items recap for council the processes and steps taken to arrive at a reasonable agreement between the town and Circular Materials for residential recycling. So back on September 3rd, council was presented with the information about the changes in the legislation and the upcoming changes to the recycling within the province. And I will recap the program and some of the steps that took place after that meeting. So extended producer responsibility shifts the cost of recycling materials like single-use products, packaging and paper products, and hazardous and special products away from our municipality and everyday Albertans to the producers and manufacturers who supply those products into the marketplace. And the town of Coaldale opted in where we would become the contractor for circular materials and be reimbursed for our negotiated recycling costs. So that's all being looked after, and Terry May is busy getting that organized. And over the fall of 2024 season, Terry and his group have been in negotiations with the Circular Materials, and have come to a reasonable agreement between the company and our municipality. And so with the negotiations, our current waste contractor will stay the same, and the residents will not see any change in their service. But on the back end, the town will be compensated monthly for our recycling and overhead, plus a small amount for our promotional services to get the word out on this new program. So Terry, good job on that. And again, I'll have the staff report as part of the agenda package and the comments, so you can read up on it more. Then under departmental reports, we had our Director of Protective Services and Fire Chief Clayton Rutberg give us a Q3 report from September to December on what's going on with our emergency services. So Clayton reported that they continue to see volumes climbing through Q3, including a record-setting August with 87 calls. And with this high volume this year, we've also seen 31 code reds up to the end of Q3, which is already more than what we've seen in 2023. So back to when I was talking about the ambulance, here is, if even though it's up, it was way worse before we were able to get the rid of the Coreflex on the shifting for the personnel of the ambulances. And they continue to see great support from their members as call volume for Coaldale and District Emergency Services continues to rise. They continue to strive to keep up the recruitment to maintain 40 volunteers and to ensure they deliver a high quality service to the residents of Coaldale and Lethbridge County. And we see that every day. We have a very, very strong emergency services. I like to brag and say, like, they're second to none in the province. There's many other really good ones, but I am extremely proud of our local emergency services. Also on the municipal enforcement side, like our bylaw, they also continue to see demands for service rise through Q3. The municipal enforcement team responded to 102 complaints through Q3, bringing the total for the year up to 426. And they continue to see a highest demand for service being enforcement of community standards bylaw, with a significant number of properties that were delinquent in maintaining the grass and weeds. So the moral is, if you own a residence, look after it. Cut your grass, look after your weeds, please. They've also seen many animal-related calls this year, with 23 calls for animal control, bringing the total for 2024 up to 85. In Q3 alone, they responded to 5 dog bites due to the nature of the animal-related calls. An additional time was required when it comes to investigations, and these tend to be the most time-consuming types of calls for them to deal with. On the emergency management side, it was relatively quiet in Q3. They completed a revision of the stormwater operations plan, which was conducted, and the plan was approved. And they also participated in ICS 200 and 300 training, helping to ensure that all our staff are adequately trained for large-scale emergencies in Coaldale. So thank you, Clayton, for that report. And again, I'll have his full PowerPoint that he presented to Council as part of the agenda package as well. Then we had a verbal update regarding the Coaldale Library from Councillor Jason Beekman, and he did an excellent job on that. And one of the things that the library is very impressed with is how the new skate, how can I say that? So for myself, I had my grandkids and they're just learning how to skate. You can go rent skates for free at the library if you have a Coaldale membership. And if you're a Coaldale resident, the membership is free as well. So it's a no-brainer if you want to try skating. They have skates for all sizes. They also have The skate assists, they're called. It's something that you slide along on the ice if you don't have your balance. That's something that I would require because I haven't skated for over 30 years. And they also have helmets. And thank you to the Coldell Kinsmen for donating the skate assists, and 10 helmets is what I heard that they've donated as well. So that program is going very well, as is our new outdoor skating rink. It's crazy busy. It's great to see. It's a great investment for our residents, and the best part is it's totally free. Other than that, we had some information items, minutes from various groups and organizations, but that's it for the open portion of the meeting. So if you have any questions about any of this I just commented on, leave me a comment in the comment section. I'll get back to you. I'll have my email address and my personal cell number at the end of this video. I encourage you to reach out. I appreciate when people reach out with questions, concerns, not only to myself, but all the council. We're always available to have a conversation. So feel free to reach out. Other than that, I believe that's everything. Enjoy the rest of your week, and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.